Hey everyone, welcome to this week's 2-minute critique. And as always, we have one goal: help photographers get better by learning through the mistakes of others. And thank you to everybody who submits and takes a chance. I know it's not easy having your work critiqued, especially on the internet these days, but it's all in good love, all about getting better. So without further ado, let's get started here. All right, first image up. I'm just looking at it for what it is, and I feel the image is lacking expression, emotion, connection. And sometimes as we're doing critiques, right, we're looking at the obvious. We're looking at lighting, we're looking at posing. Here, I'm just struggling with the connection of our subject here, right? So it's just, maybe that's the goal, I don't know, but these are things you want to be looking at. He looks completely annoyed, completely disinterested, and just honestly like he wants to go tell you to go F yourself. Hey dude, what are you doing with that camera? So if that were the goal, that's fine. But as a portrait, thinking about it as something I'd want to put on my wall perhaps, this to me is just not resonating. But there's some other things, issues we've got here that we can probably take a look at. So let's just get some red here. Here's what's jumping out most to me is this right in the background, right? So it's there in the background, it's in its case, and that's kind of bothering me for this scene. So I'm assuming, definitely assuming, it's a senior portrait of some sort. He's a musician, right, of some sort, but I don't know because it's not there, it's not released, we haven't revealed it. There's so much mystery, but not needed mystery here, because just take it out. Maybe it's not even in the frame. It doesn't really seem to be adding to the frame. And I know a lot of times when we're doing senior work, we want to have that stuff in the frame to tell the story of who they are, but this just doesn't particularly work for me. And then the lighting here. I can't tell if we are indoors or outdoors, running out of time. Can't tell if we're indoors or outdoor, but the overall lighting situation, we've got some spill here, but lighting does look like it's coming from this direction. So I don't know if you bounced it, but definitely I can see that there's spill in this area, 5 seconds, that we can do some better light control with. Anyway, my personal opinion, with something like this, that's our 2-minute mark, but with something like this, I'd rather see a little bit more mood, grunge, directional light, make it a little bit more dramatic, especially with his expression. I think that would have fit this portrait better. All right, here we go, next image. All right, so here we are. Again, it's a dancer in an alley. By the way, very much my style of photography, so this is not being lost on me. But there are things we have to do to fix these images, right? We have control in our place. The first biggest problem that you just have to maybe go to another alley, change your positioning, bring her close to the camera, all sorts of things you can do. Right here, we've got a problem. What parent is going to want to put a portrait like this up on a wall with a giant dumpster that's right there? Sorry. With a giant dumpster that's right there in the frame. That nobody's going to want that on their wall. And then if we zoom in here, right, we see that cutting through her leg. We see a car tire right behind her. Remember, you're always going to be drawn to the brightest part of an image. Well, that car tire is a bright part of the image. This sky, bright part of the image. And so we start having a really hard time getting into this image because of all these distracting elements. And I just want to show you here, guys, right, is just even just cropping down, right, we get her into that kind of grid pattern, right, put her in that third. And I know I'm not probably at the right aspect ratio, but I do want you to get a sense, right, of how that changes the image a little bit and starts getting us back to her. Now, as I do that, right, look what else we see in the frame. Who's this dude? Like, we couldn't wait 3 seconds later to get this dude out of the frame and shoot it. So there's choices you're making as a photographer, as an artist, that you do have control over here. And you can move on, flip, shoot the other way, change your angles, move garbage pails. I've been known to do that. But these are things that don't belong in the frame. So you're killing yourself doing this stuff. All right, I hit my 2-minute mark. I'm so happy. All right, next image is up. Right, beautiful architecture in the frame. We've got very nice soft lighting coming in from camera right. We've got that light lighting her up. I love that light, but There's some problems. And so there's a couple of things that are really jumping out at me, okay? One is your angle of attack on this, right? So here's what I mean by this. You as the photographer, I can tell by looking at this, you're standing up taking this shot, okay? You're not down on one knee. So you're standing up while you're taking this shot. That's a problem. So you should be down, shooting up, making her powerful. She's a powerful, pregnant woman. Whether she's a model, it doesn't matter. She's supposed to be a powerful, pregnant woman. And that's being lost because you're shooting down on your subject. Bring her closer to frame. Look at all this foreground. Useless. Foreground is absolutely useless in the shot. It is adding nothing to the shot. Instead, bring her, okay? She should be right here. This is where she should be. What that'll do is bring her away from the door, creating separation, making the door go a little bit soft, a little bit blurry, right? Having her at the same distance as the door for the most part ensures that the door, the walls, everything is screaming at us at the same focus, right? So by putting her here, you getting down on one knee and shooting up, you'd have had an amazing, stronger pose for this powerful woman. But now we've got other problems, right? As we zoom in here, this hand is a mess, right? So she's just out there with her arm. It doesn't look right, doesn't feel right. And the trick is to bend that wrist just a little bit, right? Bring that elbow down just a little bit. She just looks like she's out there like that. Why? Because you told her to hold it out there. And so you've got to work on it and get her to pull it down. Also, look how annoyed she is. I got 5 seconds, but I'm going to go a little bit longer. Look how annoyed she is. Man, she is not happy to be pregnant or fake pregnant. You've got to work on that. But again, another problem. Here's something I like to do. Sorry, we're going a little bit longer. We're rogue. All the light coming in is hitting all the same part of her. So she's being lit the same all through here, right? And I think if we just turned her face from looking at the light, right, and just bring her chin at camera, envision this with me, you start creating, because you've got these beautiful curves in her body, but this last curve just goes straight up. And what we could have done was check this out, look at all the lines. Line, 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 and then it just goes straight through instead of line. And all you had to do is bring her chin back, and you'd have had that line again. So I've gone way over my time. Good image, almost there. Better than some of the other ones we've looked at. So hopefully these little tweaks help you. All right, last image. Here we go. Okay, so nice portrait, laying in a field, laying in a grass. Nothing wrong with that, but here's the problem. I feel like it's one of those magic tricks. You know when you see the magic tricks and the magician comes around and spins the thing and then separates the body into two parts? Where's the rest of her body? Right? This is just killing me here. I can't stop looking at it. Like I just feel like she's floating out of the frame, right? Like it just shouldn't be that way. Okay, so you have control over that. Rule of thumb, never cut at a joint. Now, I feel like you're just a little bit above that, so maybe you could argue with me and say, well, I'm not really at the joints out. That's great, but it still looks like she's just floating half a body. So that's problem number one with this image. Problem number two, again, something you are in complete control over, the claw. Oh, look at that hand, man. It's just like this, right? It's like a claw. Who wants that pic? Hey, how you doing, man? Is she going to have a phone? We could Photoshop a phone in there, and she'd be on that phone. It'd be fine. So you've got a control hand. Is she laying? That'd be better. But what is she doing? She's in between emotions. So I don't know why you picked this picture, right? You thought it was a good image. Yes, her expression is probably a very good expression for her. She's looking at camera. She's got a nice soft smile. But then we've got to start looking at all these other things that could be wrong with it. And I'm telling you, this popping out of here, all this unneeded headroom up top, this is unneeded. It's not helping the frame. Okay, so let's crop down into that a little bit more. Bring her there. All of this part of the frame also not helping. Not helping what we're doing here. So now you can see just by changing that crop a little bit better, the other parts of the issue don't go away, but you can see these are going to help. So hopefully you guys have learned a little bit something. 2-minute critiques every week. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Like it, leave comments below, and we'll see you next week.